Hello, Roseanne here, coming to you to share my journal for the spring Stashbuster that Julie and Cara Brandon are hosting on Facebook. And this, I've never named a journal before, but this one I'm calling Maureen. And my friend Maureen has passed about 4 or 5 years ago, and she always had a garden in her backyard, and so I wanted to do something floral, and has a lot of florals and reminds me of her, the things in here. So anyway, this is a silk scarf that I tied it with, and it's not connected in any way. And I made this tassel out of an old necklace. Well, it's not old, but a necklace anyway. Added a few green beads here, and then attached it right here with a grommet. And then I layered the front cover with things that just would remind me of her. Colors and flowers. And this is a fabric journal. I put 2 signatures in it and layered a doily on there. Let's see here. So the inside cover is just plain, and it's a fabric placemat, quilted fabric placemat that I got a hold of. It's a flower card, a viola, it says on there. And there's flowers here on this. It's the envelope and a stationery attached. Blue chip savings book. An old flower arrangement on a table. Scrapbook paper with homes. Her and I were roommates back in the day, so before I got married. And this is a poem that reminded me of her, and I backed it with some paper from the inside of the same book that I got the poem from. A little set of gardening there, gardening and some poetry about it. This is blue chip stamp ticket, I'm not sure. Avocado dyed paper. I put some fabric on paper clips, some of the paper clips. There's a bird. It's called an eastern meadowlark. There's the great-tailed grackle, whatever that is. Coffee dyed paper. There's side of a yard with flowers in it from an old vintage book. And this is from typewriting lesson plan. And G&H green stamps. Ticket. Some stationery, and then I put a floral piece of scrapbook paper, and this picture reminds me of where we used to live a little bit, although it's not it. Just a photograph that I have. More flowers out of a vintage book. Flowers from a vintage book. Coffee dyed paper. Stationery, marbling, and another cloth on paper clip. And this is a little booklet from a game. It's just a place to journal. And this is a dining set with some beautiful china. And she is the one who showed me how to, oh, it just chokes me up. I don't want to get choked up here. But anyway, she's the one that showed me how to have fine dinners and set out china. Although I don't have china, but how to set up, do a place setting and everything. So, coffee dyed paper, flowers on a card. This is wallpaper with butterflies on it. And this is a place to tuck some notes that I glued in here. It's just an envelope, or not an envelope, it's just a bag. And I got some, this is not a vintage book, but it's a book from Dick and Jane, I believe. And I just put 2 pages together with washi tape. This just reminds me of her. And here's a Billy band, and I paper clipped some cards there. Flowered clock, tip up. Again with the china on the table. China on a table there from a vintage book. Picture from a page from a vintage book. More stationery, coffee dyed paper. I put this in here as just a bookmark. I liked this. I almost used this as the tie for the book. But some of these colors are colors that she used to like in here. This is sort of a rickrack yarn. Flowers, coffee dyed paper, birds, avocado dyed paper, flowers. This is a Hallmark card. It's blank inside, and I just have it clipped there on the other side of this house print paper. The blue chip book, a tip in, fabric chip in, another Hallmark card there. This furniture was just reminded me of her furniture she had. There's a picture from a book, the blue chip savings book, another fabric on clip, coffee dyed ledger paper, here's another table setting. I don't know if that's too shiny, I'm sorry if it is. Anyway, you get the idea. Here's another marker on this. I put 2 signatures in here. I think there ended up being about maybe, let's see, maybe 50 pages in all. Avocado dyed paper, a bird, Savannah sparrow, the Bobo link. There's another face. Here's another picture from, that reminds me of where we used to live. And this is a postcard, actually. This is more of the typewriter lessons book. I don't think it's too vintage, but you know, it is typewriter lessons, so it's kind of vintage. This is a vintage book page. A belly band. This is that, it's beautiful stationery and the envelope to it. It's kind of embossed. The other side of that bird book. Avocado dyed paper. More wallpaper that I attached to this here. Flip up. The butterfly, this is a paper die cut. I just glued it there. Coffee dyed paper. I put that little fact tracker in this envelope. It's not an envelope, but it's a bag. And then I just put a little cluster there. It's a tuck also, where I'll find something to tuck in there later. And I put this fabric on paper clip there. This is a picnic table setting with flowers. Coffee dyed ledger paper. The blue chip book. Another fabric on paper clip. Picture from that book. So this book is called Maureen. I miss my friend a lot. Here's a tip-in. And I put this lace, heart lace on the top, glued it on the top. And this is another poem on the back. And I just attached one of those die-cut butterflies here. And the poem on the back here is named My Friend. And it talks, I couldn't read it right now for sure. I might cry. Because I do miss her a lot. We are very close. And so, I hope you like my journal, my Maureen. Thank you.